Hey and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We are back again for another episode of Marriage Boot Camp, Hip Hop Edition, Season 19, Episode 4, All Shook Up. So, I guess Lyrica has gotten over herself and decided not to go home because the episode opens with Mariah Lynn. She's in the room and she's looking for her cigarettes. Rich is trying to get her not to get herself riled up, but then she starts crying about missing her family, being tired, and her body hurting. We see a flashback to Kay and Caston last night as he reiterates it's not that he doesn't want to have a child, but why talk about children when they're in a bad place? If they can get them right, then anything's a possibility. And I agree. Be whole in yourself. Be healthy in your relationship before you try to bring a baby into the world. Trust me. So to avoid having her business on the camera, or so she thinks, Kay is texting Caston while they're in the same room. But womp womp, we see and hear Judge and Ish peep the whole thing. They say the day is about fighting, which is okay if you fight fair. And every season I say this is so important in all of your relationships. You either fight fair or you zip those lips. So A1 is in the kitchen. He's talking about how much fun they had before they got separated. So Emmett, he jokes about it, and Rich joins in too. Emmett says that she gave him an option to go back out on their way up the stairs, but he knew he'd have a horrible night. Judge and Ish say, GB and Emmett say they have their trust issues and their anger issues, but they haven't seen them since they've been there. Dr. Ish can tell Emmett was bothered by what happened last night, and he believes if they were home, it would have gone differently. He wants the two to stop playing nice so they can get the help that they need. A1 tells Lyrica he'll be there for her and their son no matter what. Lyrica hates to go from being a family to being a single mom. It's emotional and it makes her drained. In his confessional, A1 says he feels like Lyrica sweeps his feelings under the rug when he wants to address things. Rich in his confessional says that A1 and Lyrica talk around each other and they need to open up, have a conversation, and get to the heart of it. He has a lot of insight for someone on the creep squad. So Dr. Ish, he gets Lola and Emmett for a one-on-one. He tells them what he said earlier about them playing nice. He brings up that GB is snatching him out of the hot tub. Ish says he knows that she has a big personality. So they're having a conversation and Emmett, he looks over to Lola before he answers. And Ish says they can't communicate honestly that way. Emmett says he shuts down and he gets mad and he just doesn't want to deal with it. He feels she talks way too much about their relationship, and Lola, she gets upset. She doesn't like them to fight and argue, and so she tries to fix it, but she knows she can't fix everything. She says this is the most that they've gotten along in a while, and Dr. Ish says he doesn't think that they're faking, but they're making a conscious effort to suppress it. He says it's good, but they have to lean in today and get out of their heads. In their confessional, Emmett admits it's uncomfortable to be transparent in front of others. So yes, they were suppressing their emotions, but they plan to lean in. All boot campers to the boot camp room now. It's day 4 and Dr. Ish gifts them custom watches and tells them this bling stings. And if you've seen the show before, you know that their partner gets the remote to the watch. Anytime you're hurt, angered about what your partner has said, anytime their words send an emotional zap to your system, you have the option to zap back. Lyrica suggests they sit amongst each other and let's make it a game. What about if we did it like that? Rich feels like it's a setup, and Dr. Ish says it's about her and A1, and you're just gonna go about your day as you normally do. So the guys, they just start testing the buzzer out for no reason. Rich, Caston, words are powerful, Emmett says. Are you gonna tell your mom the same thing? Now you know Emmett gave her a zap for that one. Lola says, that's not the drill. Emmett says, that's exactly what the drill is. And then we just see folks just randomly zapping each other for no reason. K. Michelle tells Caston to go ahead and say what's on his mind. He says that he thinks that the both of them checked out for the best of the situation. Will they be able to check back in and make it a forever thing and bring children into this union? That's what they're here for. And if they can't make that happen, then they need to go their separate ways. He says a little bit more, and it's crickets from K. Michelle, and that earns her a zap. So Lyrica, she's in the kitchen trying to play therapist to everybody. The irony is astounding. We hear Dr. Ish say that A1 and Lyrica are the most argumentative couple in the house, and they have yet to shock each other. If they don't lean into the drill, then they miss the point of how the things they say or don't say affect each other. Lyrica has made food and she wants everybody to come and get their plate and join them on the couch for a game. She don't listen. Lyrica says that one person has to ask the next couple a question and then the person's partner will respond. Then it's a buzz or a no buzz if you feel like your partner is out of pocket. It doesn't seem like anyone but GB is down, but they go ahead and play anyway. Emmett says to Kay, "You know that he really loves you, right?" Kay says, "Not really," and then she starts crying. Caston says he's not gonna buzz her because he's a practical dude. GB asks why she's crying. Kay says because he doesn't show it. Lyrica again is acting like she's the doggone therapist. Judge and Dr. Ish are watching and they know exactly what she's doing. She's passing judgment on everyone else in the room. And they still have not shocked each other once. And honestly, she's doing exactly what Dr. Ish told her not to do. Judge says there's only one judge there. And honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't come out or say anything to her to stop her from what she was doing. Kay in her confessional says she doesn't know who died and made them experts. And on this, I totally agree. They annoyed my spirit. Caston explains the same things to the group that he's been saying, that they need to work on their relationship first. Then stop giving me sperm, Kay says. And she cries about having 3 rounds of IVF. And I felt her on this one. Don't give her sperm if you're not willing to commit or ready to be a parent. Just sounds crazy. Kay leaves the room and Caston follows. Judge and Ish, they notice that Kay likes to handle her pain in private. So Dr. Ish comes in and asks her how she's trying to feel. Kay says she wants to feel happy. She's worked hard for her family and she loves her son, but she works so hard in her career that she missed so many moments. I don't know how these artists do it. On the last season, it was the same problem with Nori and why he wanted to have another kid. And that's just a heavy load for anyone to carry. They discuss Caston giving her sperm and Dr. Ish asks him if that's what he wants. Caston says he can co-parent with her. And wrong answer, Caston, wrong answer. Dr. Ish says either they're rising or they're on the decline. She's a grown woman and she can handle the truth. So the group is still participating in this BS and Mariah Lynn and Rich are up. She buzzes him, so he buzzes her. In his confessional, Rich says that Lyrica is crossing a line. Mariah Lynn, she's had enough. So she says it hurts and she takes the watch off and she leaves. Lyrica is going and so now Rich, he leaves. In his confessional, he says that he saw the show and he came there for what the show has to offer, not a cast member's version of how they want it to be to protect themselves. So he talks it out with Emmett outside and he says, do what Dr. Ish tells them to do. Don't try to change it or make it your game. It's not your game. And A1 and Lyrica have still yet to zap each other. Judge says she agrees with Rich. It's supposed to be a communal experience and they're supposed to be engaging publicly, and that's not what's going on. So inside, Lola asks Emmett his intentions when they leave. She doesn't want to just leave and go back to the way it was. His intention is to work it out between her and his family. He has 3 kids and his mom and a couple of his kids don't like Lola. It starts to go left and Lola talks about boundaries. So then they end up taking this conversation outside to discuss with the others. And Lola says it's not her issue. He hasn't set boundaries. And Emmett starts talking about setting new boundaries and Lola is kind of over talking him and it escalates. Emmett threatens to flip a table. So Caston, he comes behind him to make sure he's okay. Emmett says he's okay. He just had to walk away and calm down a little. Inside, Rich asked Mariah Lynn what he did. Him zapping her made her feel like he's okay with hurting her. She just wants peace and happiness because she hasn't had it all her life and she doesn't know what it is. And that made me sad. And if you watch Love and Hip Hop, you will know that Mariah Lynn, she's been through a lot, y'all. And she gets into it. She tells him that when she comes at him with her guard up, it's because she's used to being let down and hurt. In her confessional, she says all her life, she's been hurt. Being sexually and physically abused, her dad being incarcerated most of her life, and having to struggle and fight. Rich says he understands that it's deeper and he apologizes. Boot campers to the front driveway now. Dr. Ish says they were given blinged out watches and specific instructions to zap each other every time your partner triggered you. That was the plan, but not how it went down. He brings up Rich and he explains that they weren't doing what they were supposed to do to get what they were supposed to be getting. Y'all letting Rich be the smartest people in the room. Shame, shame on you, boot campers. So Dr. Ish reminds them of it being a communal experience, and not giving 100% doesn't just affect them. It affects everyone in the group. Lyrica says, so my game sucked? Yes, Lyrica, your game sucked. Dr. Ish says that wasn't the point. The game was a fix. You weren't doing what you were asked to do. It was a workaround. Now the couples must tackle the shocktacle course. Holding hands, they both have to get through the course and back, avoiding electric wires. They have 5 minutes to navigate the course. If they don't finish in time or stop holding hands, they'll start over and repeat until they do. You know the drill. Typically, Ish counts how many times they shocked each other to determine the voltage. But because Lyrica's stunt, the group gets the max voltage. That's messed up. Lyrica and A1 are up first, and they argue and they get zapped, and with less than a minute left, Lyrica lets his hand go, and so they have to start again. They communicate better and do the first half better and make it across the finish line in time. It's Mariah Lynn and Rich Dollars, and we hear a lot of screaming, and they barely make it through in time. Dr. Ish lets the group know that K. Michelle had surgery before she came into the house, which she talked about during one of the commercial breaks. I wasn't going to bring it up, but obviously it's important. So medically, she can't do the drill. So Caston, he's going to do the drill solo as Kay cheers him on. In their confessional, Caston says he has no problem with doing the drill for the both of them, but he's annoyed that A1 and Lyrica didn't participate and got the voltage turned up to the max. First, Kay is quiet, and then she finally chimes in and she helps him get through in time. Gangsta Boo and Emmett are up last, and at the end, Gangsta Boo, she drags poor Emmett through so they could make it in time. Dr. Ish says the theme of the day was fighting, but they fight so much and so dirty that what they're fighting about gets lost in the mix. Despite the rule change, they did get some insight. So Judge comes out and she dresses A1 and Lyrica first and the way they talk to each other. And as they're talking, Judge points out that A1 criticizes Lyrica. She wants to be the mother of his son and wife of a man that she loves without being afraid. And normally I am here for all the positive words that the judge has to say. But I wanted them to address what she did earlier a little bit more than they did. I guess, y'all. So Judge points out that when A1 puts Lyrica through it, that their son gets a third of the mother he deserves. Lyrica is a face full of tears and she kind of relives what she's been going through. Judge says if they learn how to talk to each other, they won't keep going through the same obstacles. Judge says that Emmett has a mean kill switch when it comes to his emotions, but he needs to be able to have the argument and not just walk away. Judge applauds Caston for being out of his comfort zone and still continuing to show up. Judge thanks Rich for speaking up, and she says he didn't get cheated because he and Mariah Lynn had a meaningful conversation earlier. And he did the mature thing by apologizing. Judge says she hopes he's learning to listen and not assume that he knows what she's feeling before she tells him. So later in the kitchen, they're discussing what they got out of it, and Mariah Lynn says you need to support your partner regardless. A1 is having the same conversation with Lyrica in another room, and she says she just wants to be by herself. So A1 obliges, and he discusses it in the kitchen with Rich. A1 says she's upset about what the judge said, and Rich is like, but you guys had a good day. A1 explains it'll be one little thing and then nothing else matters. Now she's back to not knowing if she wants to do this. In the confessional, he says earlier that they were in a good place, but now we're back to where they were. Does she want to give it another shot? He wants to know. Rich asks if she's going to be okay in the morning. And A1, he might be right about how Lyrica feels. In her confessional, when they ask her if she had the choice, if she wanted to leave today with or without A1, she would choose to leave without him. We hear her ask for her phone and say she wants to call an Uber and go home. And that is where we end. So how did you guys like the episode? Drop that down below in the comments. Everyone, they seem to be progressing, but I still kind of feel like only Gangsta Boo and Emmett might make it out, and even that's questionable at this point. If you have made it this far, put that lightning bolt emoji down in the comments for the shocktacle course in this episode. Stick with me as I make these episodes up. Turn on your notifications, and I hope you'll come back and join me for episode 5. While you're here, please check out some of my other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.